That's what I'm so excited for those months with the heroes, because we get to see that of the people. All of us have that pilgrimage in us. And it is sad to think that there are bodies in that wall.
I don't care what my word is, because my story is going to go down that I made you do all this and I was a nobody.
Right. Hey everybody, welcome into Folklore and Flourish. You're here with Jane and Mark over at Blue Box 29. Today is February 17th. We are in week 3, Love Lost and Found. Today is focusing all on the search. So our love has been lost and we are in the search today. Our theme is love as pilgrimage. Right? It's kind of like our pilgrimage book of self-love, but this is loving in others. So we're going to look at 4 stories today, 4 stories we have heard before. We are specifically focusing on their search. So we're looking at Egyptian, Hindu, Greek, and Chinese folklore today. We're going to focus on the search. So we'll see you right after these 4 stories. Before we begin, I want to take a moment to honor the cultures behind the stories we are about to explore. The tales shared here come from many peoples, lands, and traditions. I do not change these stories to fit modern expectations or to align with today's social standards. Instead, I present them as they were told, sometimes beautiful, sometimes harsh, sometimes challenging. We are not here to judge the past, but to understand it, to listen, to learn, and to honor the ancestors who carried these stories forward. We also share stories from various religious traditions. These are presented in their historical and spiritual context, with respect for their beliefs that they represent. Every culture deserves respect, context, and acknowledgement, and this space is dedicated to doing exactly that. Story 1. Isis searches for Osiris. In Egyptian tradition, love is not passive. It is devotion enacted. Osiris, king of Egypt, ruled with justice and order. He taught humanity, agriculture, law, and reverence for the gods. But his brother Set, driven by envy, devised a plan to destroy him. Set crafted a magnificent chest, measured exactly to Osiris's body. During a feast, he offered it as a gift to whoever fit perfectly inside. When Osiris lay down within it, Set slammed the lid shut, sealed it with molten lead, and cast it into the Nile. The river carried Osiris away. Isis, his wife and sister, did not collapse into despair. She began to search. She traveled through marshlands and foreign kingdoms. She questioned fishermen, children, and spirits. She followed rumors carried by wind and tide. The chest had drifted to Byblos, where a great tree had grown around it, encasing Osiris within its trunk. Isis found the tree. Through patience and humility, she gained entry to the royal court of Byblos. She revealed her identity only when the moment was right. The king and queen allowed her to take the chest. But Set discovered the body once more and, in fury, dismembered Osiris into 14 pieces, scattering them across Egypt. Isis searched again. This time, she gathered each fragment of her husband's body from the banks of the Nile and the edges of the desert sands. With the help of Nephthys, Anubis, and Thoth, she reassembled him. Through ritual, breath, and magic, she restored him long enough to conceive their son, Horus. Osiris did not return to earthly rule. He became lord of the Duat, the Egyptian underworld. Isis did not erase loss. She transformed it. For the Egyptians, the myth explained not only resurrection, but persistence. The Nile floods, Crops die and rise again. Bodies fall, spirit continues. Love here is not spared from violence. It is tested by fragmentation. It survives because someone chooses to seek again and again. Isis is not remembered for weeping alone. She is remembered for searching. Story 2. Savitri follows death. In Hindu tradition, love is not confined to comfort. It is a vow tested by fate. Savitri was a princess of radiant intelligence and quiet resolve. When the time came to choose a husband, she selected Satavan, a noble man living in exile in the forest with his blind father. There was one problem. The sage, Narada, warned her that Satavan was destined to die exactly 1 year from the day she met him. Savitri did not withdraw her choice. She married him knowing the hour was marked. On the final day of that year, she fasted and prayed. When Satavan went into the forest to gather wood, she followed him. As he worked, dizziness overcame him. He laid his head in her lap and breathed his last breath. The air changed. Yama, god of death, appeared to claim Satavan's soul. He drew the spirit from the body and began to depart. Savitri rose and followed. Yama told her to turn back. It was not permitted for the living to walk the path of the dead. She did not argue with anger. She walked beside him with composure and spoke of righteousness, devotion, and the sacred duties of marriage. She praised Dharma, the moral order that binds gods and humans alike. Impressed by her wisdom, Yama offered her a boon. She asked for the restoration of her father-in-law's sight and kingdom. Granted. Still, she followed. Yama offered another boon. She asked for her own father to be blessed with sons. Granted. Still, she followed. Finally, Yama granted her the blessing of many sons of her own. Only then did he realize the implication. Without Satavan, she could not bear children. Bound by his word and moved by her unwavering devotion, Yama released Satavan's soul and restored him to life. Savitri returned to the forest clearing. Her husband breathed again. This story is not one of rebellion, but of endurance. Savitri does not conquer death by force. She walks beside it. She speaks calmly into inevitability and reshapes it through fidelity. In Hindu tradition, Savitri became a symbol of marital devotion so powerful that women still observe the festival of Vat Savitri in her honor, fasting and praying for the long life of their husbands. Love here is pilgrimage. It walks into darkness without surrendering dignity. Story 3. Psyche seeks Eros. In Greek myth, love does not remain still. It demands pursuit. Psyche once lived in splendor beside Eros, god of desire, but love fractured when doubt entered her heart. Urged by jealous voices, she lit a lamp to look upon the face of her mysterious husband. Oil fell, he woke. Betrayed by mistrust, Eros fled, and Psyche was left alone. The palace vanished, the comforts dissolved. What remained was absence. Psyche did not collapse into despair. She began to search. Across cities and fields she wandered, asking temples and altars where she might find him. Her quest led her not to reunion, but to Aphrodite, goddess of love and mother of Eros. Aphrodite did not offer mercy. Instead, she gave Psyche tasks designed to break her. First, she was ordered to sort an impossible heap of grains before nightfall. Ants came to her aid, dividing seed from seed with patient precision. Next, she was told to gather golden wool from violent rams. A reed whispered instruction, telling her to wait until the rams slept and collect wool from the branches where it had caught. Then she was commanded to draw water from the black cliff where the river's Styx poured downward. An eagle descended and filled the vessel for her. Finally, Aphrodite sent her to the underworld to retrieve a portion of Persephone's beauty. Psyche entered death's realm willingly. She followed instruction carefully, resisting the temptation to open the box she carried back. Yet, near the end, curiosity returned. She lifted the lid, hoping to gain beauty enough to win Eros again. Instead, she fell into a death-like sleep. Eros, healed from his wound, found her there. This time, he did not flee. He brushed sleep from her face and appealed to Zeus, king of the gods. Psyche was granted immortality. She drank ambrosia and was reunited with Eros not in secrecy, but openly among the gods. The Greeks told this story as more than romance. It is transformation. Psyche begins as a mortal admired for beauty. She becomes a soul refined by trial. Her very name means soul. Love wounded her. Love required labor. Love demanded descent and discipline. But love also lifted her beyond mortality. Unlike Savitri, who walks beside death through fidelity, Psyche walks through suffering toward restoration. Her love is not passive. It labors, fails, rises, and persists. For the Greeks, this was not accidental symbolism. The soul grows through trials, and love is the fire that reveals what it can become. Story 4. Meng Zhuangnu's Enduring Search. In Chinese folklore, love is not always crowned with reunion. Sometimes it is defined by the road. Meng Zhuangnu was newly married when imperial soldiers came to conscript her husband, Fan Xiliang, into labor on the Great Wall under Emperor Qin Shi Huang. The wall was not yet legend. It was burden. Her men were taken far from home, forced to build through mountain and desert. Many did not return. Meng Zhuangnu waited through autumn. She waited through winter. When no letter came and no messenger appeared, she chose movement over stillness. She packed winter clothing she had sewn for her husband and began to travel north. Her journey stretched across provinces. Snow fell, roads dissolved into mud. Villages offered fragments of rumor, but no certainty. In Chinese narrative tradition, the search itself becomes proof of devotion. Endurance is testimony. At last, Meng Zhuangnu reached the wall. The structure rose like a stone horizon. She asked for Fa Xilong, Fa Xi Li Yang. No one answered at first. Finally, a laborer told her quietly. Her husband had died from exhaustion and had been buried within the wall's foundation. The stake had consumed him. Meng Zhuangnu did not collapse. She wept. Her grief was not restrained, it was tidal. In many versions of the tale, her mourning is so profound that a section of the Great Wall crumbles, exposing the bones of the dead. The emperor hears of this woman whose tears shake stone. He summons her. Some versions say he is struck by her beauty and demands she become his consort. Others say he is astonished by her power. Meng Zhuangnu does not yield quietly. In several tellings, she sets conditions: that her husband receive proper burial rites, that the emperor honor him, that rituals be performed before she consents. The emperor agrees. After the rites are completed, Meng Zhuangnu throws herself into the sea rather than submit. In other versions, she vanishes into legend, absorbed into the landscape. What remains constant is the search. Meng Zhuangnu crosses distance not because she believes reunion is guaranteed, but because love demands witness. Her pilgrimage transforms private sorrow into public reckoning. Unlike myths where gods negotiate separation, this story unfolds under imperial authority. The Great Wall represents state power. Meng Zhuangnu represents personal fidelity. Her grief becomes resistant. In Chinese cultural memory, she is not remembered as merely tragic. She is remembered as steadfast. Temples were built in her honor during later dynasties. Her story was retold in opera, poetry, and local ritual. Love here is not possession. It is perseverance. She cannot restore her husband to life. She cannot dismantle the empire. But she can refuse silence. The wall stands as monument. Her tears stand as counterweight. The myth does not grant reunion. It grants recognition. Meng Zhuangnu's journey reframes distance. Separation is not empty absence. It is terrain to be crossed. The search itself becomes sacred. For in walking toward loss, she affirms that love is not erased by death, distance, or decree. It becomes louder. Hey everybody, welcome back into Folklore and Flourish. You're over here at Blue Box 29 with Jane and Mark. We are here on February 17th. Oh, yep, we're drinking some tea. Got our warm tea on this cold day. It is a chilly. That groundhog was not messing around, and he said more winter.
I know, the snow.
It's just like I could do with it if it wasn't. It's the wind. It's the cold wind that makes it hard in wintertime. If it was just like the snow and the chill, like it's just cold, that's fine, but the wind makes it brutal. Anyways, excuse me, Rox, we're on set. February 17th was all about the search. We have lost our love, and today was searching for them. These are 4 stories we've heard before. Some characters we love, some characters we really don't like, some of us. Our lesson, though, today with the search is that love makes wanderers of us all. So love makes wanderers of us all. That's like that romanticism and all of that we all have within us, that little bit we all have. Our daily thread for today is that across these traditions, love refuses to remain still. Isis gathers what was scattered and restores what was broken. Savitri walks beside death rather than surrender her vow. Psyche endures impossible trials to reclaim what doubt disrupted. And Mengzheng crosses empires so grief will not be silenced. Each story reveals that love becomes pilgrimage when separation strikes. The search itself becomes proof that the bond still lives. So with these 4 stories today, and we're looking at the search, we've seen all 4 of these stories before, like we already said, but we want to specifically focus on their search. Like I said, I don't like Psyche very much after hearing that Beauty was in the box, that she was curious about.
Right.
We're not going to focus on that today. You know, kind of how you said, giving the due diligence and focusing on the topic, not just the same thing every time we hear the stories. So that was great to hear today. Just the idea of love as pilgrimage being stated today was fun because our book, promoting our book, The Pilgrimage, Snow White's Duat, it's all about self-love through the ugliness. This one is loving others through the ugliness. And that pilgrimage, nonetheless, that we all take, whether it's for ourselves or for others. So it's just kind of fun. And then, of course, we start with Egypt. Our book takes place in Egypt. So I just thought it'd be a fun thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a smooth transition, easily enough. And it all does play together. Just like I was saying yesterday, everything happens for a reason.
This
So
tea's bomb.
this is super good tea. So
It's strawberry.
is it?
It's Japanese. Comes all that kit that my sister got me.
Yeah.
Strawberry.
Such a cute little tea kit too.
Yeah, my grandma gave it to me, or my mom.
If I was left-handed, this side.
Okay, so Isis searched for Osiris. So we know that she went around in disguises. She didn't show her form for a number of reasons. And you think, okay, well, if she is this goddess, this deity, you think she'd just go on through. But the more that we hear about this, like this story, I feel like we're hearing that she is being respectful to the other cultures she's wandering through.
Right.
Understanding that just like the family dynamics, Set and Osiris being brothers and being so different, Egypt is very different among its people. And she, within her search, she was getting to know the people around her because she understood the value of connection in order to find Osiris. So this Isis's search was connection and building real relationships, that trust, being an authentic human along your journey, continuing to move forward, but knowing when to stay in a place with valuable knowledge. I just really liked that with her because obviously we've seen how resourceful she is, how talented she is, and how intelligent she is through these, and how she's calm. Obviously, she probably wanted Osiris right away on this search, you see that with Isis because you see her sister, or the help of Nephthys, but also Anubis and Thought come in too. That's pretty awesome that we see wanderers, people that acknowledge wandering and knowledge, stepped in with Isis. You know, foundational characters that are never really shown on one side or another, like Thought and Anubis. They just stand firm in there, like in between, you know. It is what it is. There is no sides. So that was kind of cool. So in Egyptian belief, love is what you're willing to search for beyond it. That's what Isis is showing through this folklore, you know, this story is, how far will your love carry you? How far are you willing to search for it? If it is something that can be brought back, if it's something that's lost, because it's not that she got him back, but he was lost. So it was the search for him to be buried, to move on for himself, you know, not just to be with her. But story 2, Savitri following death. This was that fun one before. This is where she stays with death, listening, and then he continues to grant her those boons. And I mean, he's hearing her and he's giving them to her because these are good things that she's asking for, honorable things that she's asking for. And then she follows that same pattern, in turn asking for it for herself. He grants it.
He's like, fine, you know what? You did so much good that will.
Yeah, but he didn't think about it.
Yeah, of course. Because he's like, no, she's only doing this all good stuff. So why not? I love this story. Honestly, this is one of my favorite ones.
She not only was trying to find a way to get him back, right? But she found a way to help everyone benefit, including Yama, death, right? Just being like, all right. Walking away from that situation, like, clever, you know? Because we see in these stories too, behind the scenes, these deities, they speak to each other about these mortals that are impressive to them. These people that are like, oh, they have a bigger purpose. I mean, that's what I'm so excited for those months with the heroes, you know, because we get to see that of the people. All of us have that pilgrimage in us.
Yeah.
But it's cool that in these stories, someone so much more powerful than us sees us and is like, that's the human I'm going to bet on. You know, so you kind of think it's cool that they parted ways. There was no disrespect. It was a respectful parting. She wasn't gloating or anything. She did something unbelievable, remained calm in her wit, and was that steadfast figure in the home.
But how could you even, I'm sorry for cutting you.
No, go ahead.
How could you, like, to a deity, right? To me, like, as you are saying that, it just makes me truly think, how could you gloat in that? Like, obviously she's going to be like, yeah, because culturally you're supposed to, right? But, like, wouldn't you be freaked out to gloat in front of they'd be like, oh, really? Bop.
Well,
I'll show you.
You would think so. And
some of them do.
You would think so and you would hope so. But you do see stories where if they hadn't, I mean, I guess that's how we fictionalize things as humans, right? In movies and TV shows and all this stuff. Now, if they didn't waste time with the monologue of explaining their stuff or gloating, they would have gotten out.
Team
well, all teams.
Yeah.
And you're just like, get to the point, you know, before you waste time. That's why the first time I saw John Wick, I loved it. Because he doesn't let the boy, like, reason with him or complain or do anything. He's just like, it's done. Just walks up and ends it. But this one, it's not just gloating or being afraid or thankful. It's she did something that was totally risky and upfront and honest and, like, bewildering at the end when you see what happened. And it's like, kudos. And also, like, I'm going to keep my eye on you, because now it's not only that, wow, that's someone I'm rooting for, there's something going on there if you can stay that calm when you're with a deity, something that's higher than you. You're not only staying calm, but you outplayed me. Ultimately, that's what this was. It was a battle of wits and of calm reassurance. And so there's that too, of a little bit of both sides. I see what you're capable of, but I'm also worried by what I can't see, like how you do, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you don't think the possibility of that it was just dumb luck and that she was truly not thinking of that.
No, she wasn't. It wasn't dumb luck, remember? Because we talked about this story before, and it's the exact thing that she found. The way to do it was to respect the culture, her culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Understanding who she was, where she came from as a female too. I cannot have children now that my husband is gone. That's a custom that they held. So something my dad didn't have, right? That he wanted was children too. Boom. You know, she thought of a way to get it to that point. So no, I don't think it was coincidence or luck at all. Because if it would have been luck, she would have been startled when she met death.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she would have been freaked out. She wouldn't have been able to remain calm.
Right.
You know? But then again, maybe there's something with the death deities that allow you to remain so calm. Right. Something about their presence is almost more trustworthy because it's an honest exchange. So maybe there's that too. All right. But yeah, I like this story too. Story 3, Psyche seeks Eros. So we're just looking at the search, right? Yeah, she was getting help along the way, but she never refused any of these tasks either. Mm-hmm. She didn't know that help was going to come, right? In her search for him. She was searching for ways to get it done, and some of them just trying to do them head on. It wasn't going to work. But the ants saw her, and so they're helping, right? The reeds whispered to her, it's not going to work, you know? So she was getting help, but she was continuing to go on the search for him. And I don't know what it is, because there's so much that love transformed her and everything because she went and searched. I don't know. I have a hard time with this because it's like, do you love him and you're searching for him because he's a god? Though no. Because you understand that, wow, whoa, not only is he not deformed, he's like otherworldly, other being, like, you know. So there was that. This is a hard one for me.
Right, and that's why you do have to just
look at the search
through this one and not who it is and what it is, but this person is searching after they messed up. They're like, okay, I messed up. I am going to go to the ends of the earth no matter what. And there is something helping me because I'm destined to do that. Has to be.
That was something in the story actually today that I thought of. I'm glad you brought that back up. Was when it did mention that, how it fails and it gets back up and it persists. The one thing I really, really enjoyed about this story today was that it is honest in that aspect of what relationships are, is that we do fail as partners every once in a while. I'm not saying like the things we choose to do to betray someone, but there are times where we show our characteristics or we do something that our partner doesn't like, you know, and we do fail as a partner, or we do let them down in some aspects. And so it is honest in that way of, and then she's going and she does all this stuff, but then she falls again. Mm-hmm. It's not, we fail once and then everything's perfect. Like there will be times where there are hiccups again.
Yeah.
And that second time, you know, he didn't flee from her. I liked that. She failed the first time. She went on that search for him. She did what she could. She did everything. She failed again. And rather than him making her continue to chase him, he came back for her. You know, she tried.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was kind of cool because sometimes we do need our partner to just give us some grace. You know, I've been working on this. And she did all that good, you know, and I've been stuck on them, but she opened the box again. Yeah, but of course we're hung up on the things that we do wrong, not the countless nights where she was barely getting through these like trials and stuff.
Right.
These impossible tasks.
And we're not really shown the impossibilities that she's went through. And it probably was to that extreme.
She was to the underworld, right? To cross over.
So how are we to judge except for then to look at only these stories through? And it's kind of funny that I had brought this up, I think, before we even started recording, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, we listened to all these stories. Let's try to talk about it in a way that maybe because obviously I know this story. She doesn't like her.
You don't really like Psyche either.
We don't like.
I remember the first time you heard about Psyche, right? In the story.
Yeah.
I remember watching your body language. You did not like it. You didn't like the lesson that was supposed to be taken from it. You didn't agree with the viewpoint that the people have on her story. But theirs is hundreds of years of it layered on top of them, right? So they're seeing the other aspects, and we come in and okay, but you did it again, and then you're granted immortality. No, she failed, was humiliated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no way that we've seen the Greek gods and deities and stuff. They're rude. They mock the humans. They're like people they can manipulate and stuff. Obviously, Aphrodite sending her on these tasks.
Mm-hmm.
She was probably humiliated every aspect of the way. And then, while only the ants could help you, like, you're not even as high up as the ants. Mm-hmm. Like, all of this stuff. And so it kind of humbles us in that aspect, too, but could I sit there and be ridiculed and, like, given these tasks in that search, you know? Mm-hmm. And then to go through and then to fail again, and everyone's like, that's how they remember you. It's just you were nothing but a failure. But look at all that other stuff we didn't see, right?
Right.
Does that mean it changes my entire perspective on the story? No. Mm-hmm. There's still aspects I don't like, but it's also not my relationship. You know, that humbling, we know more about our own relationship than anyone else does or should. An important note in this one is that in Greek thought, love is not merely emotion. It's an important note on this one. It is refined force that tests the soul and reshapes it into something enduring. So maybe it was just that continuing to go, knowing that you probably will fail again. Chances are. And if it's not with this, you might be tested with something new to make you stronger in that aspect. Mm-hmm. And you may fail.
And who are we to say, too? At the end of the day, it could have been her not needing to succeed. It was a test of only to see how long until she failed. Mm-hmm. That could have been the test the whole time. And so who are we to say that couldn't have been, right?
Right. All of those things that came to help her that we're watching probably. How long is she going to actually try, though? Yeah. She's going to actually give it her best. Because then they stepped in and helped her last minute, right? So they allowed her to go as long as she could go until they had to step in to help. So there's that aspect.
And they were helping her, and that's the thing, is they were helping her until they weren't, until she opened the box. So obviously.
And then maybe it was that time where the gods decided now it's Eros' turn. If he chooses to come find her when she has failed for the final time, then I guess let it be what it is.
Yep.
You know, it was his time to, you know, decide if this was someone I want to be with. She failed again, and that's when he said, you know, you are my person. I see you. Let's go. So that's beautiful in terms of it. This will probably be a story that I ended up hating and then I end up loving in the end, you know? Ends up being
I know how that feels all too well. So.
Yeah. Sometimes just it takes different perspectives. It takes time.
Oldest friend, I should say.
All right, and now our last one. This was the one with the Great Wall of China. Mengjiang. So the important note of this one is that in Chinese folklore, love's depth is measured not by reunion, but by endurance. The distance crossed becomes the testimony itself. I really admired that there was no other choice. She couldn't bear it anymore. She wasn't going to wait for word at all. It was at the point where he was either gone or he needed her help.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't responding. So, or by the time she gets there, she finds out he escaped and is run off somewhere and she can go find him, you know. But her search was all about getting the answer. You know, bringing him home, remembering him, and just finding peace. And it is sad to think that there are bodies in that wall.
Yeah.
And some that couldn't leave, you know, like to romanticize it. We'd all go search for our husbands. Some had mouths to feed. Some had other duties, right? They couldn't go look as much as they may have wanted to.
Right.
But she went, and because of that in mind, she tried to get that honor restored to all of them, everyone that had died.
Right.
During that being built. And her search was for her love. And even if she had changed, you know, or been with someone else, it certainly wasn't going to be with someone who took away her first person. Like, I love that it doesn't turn them into romantic partners. I really enjoyed that because it wasn't, no, because of what you're doing. There are many like me whose husbands are buried in the wall. Like, people are buried in the wall. And it's just like, nah. Because we do that a lot of the time. We romanticize the enemies into lovers trope. And it's like, I don't know. I think that's kind of disrespectful sometimes. Like, especially when that only happens because the man was like killed or like the partner's killed by that person and you hate them and then you end up loving them. And it's like, oh, because I misunderstood. It's like I don't know.
Yeah, the just freaking out because you misunderstood. Like, that's okay, you misunderstood. Well, you should have asked.
Right? I'm not going to be with someone that took the life of the person I love. Oh, because I don't even want to be put in the situation where I could fall in love with you. That's the thing.
Right.
Is that she didn't even put that situation available. It was, okay, I will think about it after you do all this first. I'll do it. We won't even need to talk about it, right? I'll do it. But I want you to focus on this first.
Yeah, do all this for me.
I want you to focus on him now. And then when that's done, I'll be all for you. So she didn't even have to think about it. She didn't have to beat around the bush or anything.
Yeah.
Talk about that later. I'm all yours. So it's kind of, I don't know.
No, I thought that was super smart of her. Like, she was like, okay, I'll show you. Like, I'm going to take what he deserves and I'm going to do it methodically. And I love that she does that slowly. And then she's like, but I'm never going to give myself to you. And back in the day where honor to these people means so much and your word is your honor, but she's like, I don't care because he was mine, I was his, and I honor that more than anything.
Right.
I don't care what my word is, because my story is going to go down that I made you do all this and I was a nobody.
Right.
Because like, and what I love about it too is that what catches his eye is the fact that her pain, she's able to like scream or whatever it is, like her vibration, like they've proven that vibration can levitate things, like they've shown that it can happen.
Well, just like that imprinting on the earth in general.
So she was just like, you know, whatever it was, and it cracked it. It's possible, you know, an opera singer can break glass, so why not? And I think that just shows.
Oh, right. And you have to think about all of the energy that was already surrounding the wall with the death and it being built and the anger and the loss and the depression and all of that. Malnutrition. I mean, there were people that were dead in the wall because no one came and relieved them of duty, or no one came and told them they were no longer needed up there.
Right.
Because they were so afraid to leave their post. They starved. Like, ate pieces of themselves as long as they could. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, hearing some of those stories are horrific, and that's unfortunate.
And someone just sat in a golden palace, you know, just, you know, supposedly from our stories.
Right, from what we see.
Right, but that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, and that is a whole different conversation.
But our reflection question with those 4 stories today is, what would I cross worlds for? So what would I search endlessly for? And with the being the month of love, we really focus on either who or what aspects about love am I willing to search for? You know, that protection, that commitment, just in general, that loyalty. But our thing today is that we're going to write the name of someone we love and sit briefly with what that name asks of us. So we're going to write their name down, someone we love, and we're going to sit with it briefly and look at what it asks of us. So what does loving that person ask of us? And then we are going to remember that love reveals itself through the distance one is willing to travel. So not just saying, but if it's put to the test, imagine if I was put to the test, how far would I go for this? And there are so many different kinds of loves. So we could think romantic, we could think like platonic, all this kind of stuff, but really think about what does it mean to love that person and what is the distance I'm willing to go for that. But that's all that I have for you guys today, February 17th. We are still chug-a-lug-a-lugging down week 3, love lost and found. Today was all about the search. Our lesson was that love makes wanderers of us all. And so we will see you tomorrow.
Thanks for coming. Love you guys.